Marchesa 2021, the largest CEDH tournament charity event, is coming March 27th. The tournament is raising money for Gamers Helping Gamers, a scholarship program for young MTG players. Registration for the tournament opens March 13th, and you can come watch it on Twitch on the 27th. Playing with Power will be there casting the event from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern and also casting the finals. Anyone interested in trying out CEDH can do so on Practice Day, March 13th in the Marchesa Discord. All links are in the description below. Come help support a good cause and play some CEDH. See you there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Playing with Power MTG, where we play with the most powerful cards in the most powerful formats. Tonight's game is brought to you by TCGplayer.com, where you can find all of your cards online while still supporting local game stores. Dragon Shield for all of the best accessories to protect your decks, and through Patreon, where you get awesome benefits for your direct support. For tonight's game, we are playing with one of the best artists in all of MTG, Jesper Icing. Backed by popular demand, Jesper is back to sling some spells with the Playing with Power team. We would encourage you to support Jesper by checking out some of the links below and purchasing some of his playmats, prints, tutorials, and more. Also check out his social media, links are in the description. So, let's start out by showcasing our fighters this evening. First, we have Jesper, piloting Kenrith, the Return King. This is a homebrew deck of Jesper's with some really unorthodox lines of play. It is a mid-range deck, and the spicy meter is cranked to 11. Jesper's opening hand contains a Bloom Tender, Mana Crypt, Veil of Summer, Razorcat the Foul-Blooded, Tarnished Citadel, Chrome Mox, and a Baron Master Wizard. Next, we have Zach, piloting Kess, Dissonant Mage. This is a mid-range deck that has Storm, Ad Nauseam, and Consultation lines. Zach's opening hand contains a Blood Crypt, Soul Ring, Grim Monolith, Tainted Pact, Spell Pierce, Cabal Ritual, and a Necropotence. After that, we have Mike, piloting the partner pair of Kraum Ludovic's Opus and Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. CEDH has been shifting in the meta recently, and Grixis is currently the strongest color pair. This deck is absolutely lethal and takes full advantage of the card advantage from the commanders. This is an aggressive mid-range deck that has both Consultation and Ad Nauseam lines. Mike's opening hand contains a Scalding Tarn, City of Brass, Skull Clamp, Mana Crypt, Chain of Vapor, Pyroblast, and a Felwar Stone. Finally, we have Adam piloting Rielle, the Everwise. This is a mid-range deck that takes advantage of Rielle's ability for huge card draw payoffs. Control and Discard is the name of the game for this deck. Adam's opening hand contains a Scalding Tarn, Misting Rainforest, Sensei's Divining Top, Chain of Vapor, Brain Freeze, Izzet Signet, and a Frantic Search. Without further ado, let's begin this passionate, prominent, popular puzzle of Paranoia. Jesper barely wins the doodling contest and gets to start us off. Jesper draws a card for turn and plays a Tarnished Citadel. He casts a Chrome Mox, imprinting Intuition. He casts a Mana Crypt. He taps Tarnished Citadel to cast Bloom Tender. With a blazing fast turn 1 in the books, Jesper passes to Zach. Zach draws a card for turn and plays a Blood Crypt, into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts a Soul Ring. He casts a Grim Monolith. Zach passes. Mike draws a card for turn and plays a Scalding Tarn. He cracks it, pays 1 life, and fetches up an Underground Sea onto the battlefield. He casts a Mana Crypt. Mike casts a Felwar Stone. He casts a Skull Clamp. Mike ends his turn. Adam draws a card for turn and plays a Misty Rainforest. He cracks it, pays 1 life, and fetches up an island onto the battlefield. He casts Sensei's Divining Top. Feeling miles behind, Adam passes. During his upkeep, Jesper wins his Mana Crypt flip. He draws and taps Tarnished Citadel to help cast his commander, Kenrith the Return King. He ends the turn. Zach draws and plays a Tarnished Citadel. He casts Cabal Ritual, adding 3 black. He follows it up by casting Necropotence. Zach activates Necropotence 15 times, paying 15 life and exiling 15 cards. He moves to his end step, and the Necropotence delay trigger goes onto the stack. In response, Mike casts Vampiric Tutor, attempting to dodge possible counterspells. He fetches up a card onto the top of his library and loses 2 life. Zach puts the exiled cards into his hand. He passes, discarding down to hand size and exiling the discarded cards. During his upkeep, Mike loses his Mana Crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and plays a City of Brass. He casts a Dockside Extortionist. Dockside enters the battlefield, and Mike creates 6 treasures. He casts a Chain of Vapor, targeting Dockside Extortionist. In response, Zach taps Tarnished Citadel to cast Swan Song, targeting Chain of Vapor. Mike responds by tapping City of Brass to cast Pyroblast, targeting Swan Song. Zach responds by paying 2 life to cast Mental Misstep. Pyroblast is countered, and Swan Song counters Chain of Vapor. Next, Mike sacrifices treasures to help cast his commander, Kraum Ludovic's Opus. He moves to combat and attacks Zach with Kraum. Zach takes the hit, and Mike passes the turn. Adam draws and plays a Scalding Tarn. He cracks it, pays 1 life, and fetches up a volcanic island onto the battlefield. He casts an Is It Signet. Adam passes to Jesper. During his upkeep, Jesper wins his mana crypt flip. He draws and casts a Rhystic Study. He moves to combat and attacks Zach with Kenrith. Zach takes it, and Jesper ends the turn. Zach skips his draw step due to Necropotence. In his main phase, he casts Dockside Extortionist, paying for Rhystic Study. Dockside enters, and Zach creates 10 treasures. He casts Wishclaw Talisman, paying for Rhystic Study. Kraum triggers, and Mike draws a card. Zach plays a Spire of Industry. He sacrifices a treasure and activates Wishclaw Talisman. He fetches a card into his hand and gives the talisman to Jesper. He sacrifices more treasures to cast Thassa's Oracle, paying for Rhystic Study. Oracle enters, and with a trigger on the stack, Zach sacrifices another treasure to cast Tainted Pact, paying for Rhystic Study. In response, Adam activates Sensei's Divining Top. He draws a card and puts Top on top of his library. Tainted Pact resolves, and Zach exiles his deck to put the last card into his hand. With the Oracle trigger still in the stack, Jesper taps Tarnished Citadel and activates Kenrith's ability, forcing Zach to draw a card. Zach, in disbelief that he missed this line, attempts to draw from an empty library and loses the game. The table loves Zach's misfortune, and then the turn passes to Mike. During his upkeep, Mike loses his mana crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and plays a Marsh Flats. He cracks it, pays 1 life, and fetches up a volcanic island onto the battlefield. He casts his other commander, Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike pays for it by tapping City of Brass. Mike activates Tevesh's first ability, creating 2 Thrall tokens. He moves to combat and attacks Jesper with Kraum. Jesper takes the hit. In his second main phase, Mike sacrifices a treasure to equip Skullclamp to one of his thralls, killing it. He draws 2 cards and passes the turn to Adam. Adam draws and recasts Sensei's Divining Top, paying for Rhystic Study. He ends the turn. During his upkeep, Jesper loses his mana crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and moves to combat. Jesper attacks Tevesh Zot with Kenrith. Mike chump blocks Kenrith with a Thrall. In his second main phase, Jesper casts Baron, Master Wizard. He casts an Avacyn's Pilgrim. Kraum triggers, and Mike draws a card. Jesper ships the turn. During his upkeep, Mike loses his mana crypt flip and takes 3 damage. He draws and plays a Bloodstained Mire. He activates Tevesh's first ability and creates 2 Thralls. He equips Skullclamp to a Thrall, killing it and drawing 2 cards. He cracks his Bloodstained Mire, pays 1 life, and fetches up a Badlands onto the battlefield. He casts a Talisman of Creativity, tapping City of Brass to pay for Rhystic Study. He casts a Rhystic Study of his own, paying for Jesper's Rhystic Study. Mike moves to combat and attacks Jesper with Kraum. Jesper takes it. Mike passes to Adam. At the end of Mike's turn, Adam activates Top, looking at the top 3 cards and rearranges accordingly. Adam draws, misses a land drop, and passes to Jesper. During his upkeep, Jesper loses his mana crypt flip and takes 3 damage. Still in his upkeep, he casts an Enlightened Tutor. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws a card. Jesper fetches up a Lion's Eye Diamond onto the top of his library. Still in Jesper's upkeep, Adam casts Winds of Rebuke, paying for Jesper's Rhystic Study and targeting Tevesh Zot. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws a card. In response, Jesper activates Kenrith's ability to draw a card. Winds of Rebuke bounces Tevesh Zot to Mike's hand, and everyone mills 2 cards. Jesper draws for the turn and plays a Sacred Foundry into play untapped, paying 2 life. He casts Lion's Eye Diamond. Both Kraum and Rhystic Study trigger, and Mike draws 2 cards. Jesper taps Tarnished Citadel to cast Veil of Summer. In response, Mike casts Pact of Negation, countering Veil of Summer. Rhystic Study triggers, and Jesper draws. Jesper cracks Lion's Eye Diamond, discarding his hand, including Razaketh the Foul-Blooded, and adding 3 black mana. He activates Kenrith's ability to return Razaketh the Foul-Blooded from his graveyard onto the battlefield. He activates Razaketh's ability, sacrificing Bloom Tender and paying 2 life. He fetches up a card into his hand. Jesper casts Lotus Petal. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws. Jesper activates Razaketh again, sacrificing Kenrith and paying 2 life. He fetches up another card into his hand. He sacrifices Lotus Petal to cast Dockside Extortionist. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws. Dockside enters the battlefield, and in response, Mike sacrifices a treasure for a red. Adam responds by activating Top, drawing a card, and putting Top on top of his library. Jesper then creates 6 treasures. He activates Razaketh, sacrificing Avacyn's Pilgrim, paying 2 life, and then fetching up a card into his hand. He casts Aurioc's Salvagers. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws. He sacrifices 2 treasures to activate Aurioc's Salvagers, returning Lion's Eye Diamond to his hand. He casts Lion's Eye Diamond. He cracks Lion's Eye Diamond, making 3 white. He activates Razaketh, sacrificing Dockside and paying 2 life. He fetches up a card into his hand. He casts Silence. Rhystic Study triggers, and Mike draws. Unfortunately for Mike, he didn't draw an interaction spell, and Silence resolves. Jesper then demonstrates a loop of sacrificing LED for 3 mana, returning it to his hand with Auriok Salvagers, and then recasting it. With infinite mana, he recasts Kenrith the Return King. He activates Kenrith, putting infinite +1/+1 counters on his creatures, gives them haste and trample, and swings at Adam and Mike, killing them and winning the game. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wicked, wild, and woolly game. Congratulations to Jesper on his win. He had a great answer to Zach's win attempt and expertly navigated his last turn. Killing Zach was a huge blowout and put him in a prime position to win the game. He brought a super spicy Kenrith brew and it more than paid off. The most valuable card tonight has to go to Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded. This huge creature ends games. If Razaketh makes it onto the battlefield, it is very rare not to win on the spot. A repeatable tutor on a creature that can be cheated into play is an incredible weapon. Thanks again to Jesper for playing with us. We enjoyed every second of it, and we can't wait to release more games from this recording session later this season. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. You can help us out by liking, sharing, subscribing, and also supporting us on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Okay, I'd like to give a Patreon shout out to D. Roach, Brad Tobin, Sanguinolency, I hope that's right, Snarps the Cleft, Matt Wingrove, Delphdriz, Josh Kovach, Dante, Baby Jesus, no, that's not right, Baby Jeebus, Trey Payne, Rikeko, Baskin, Zods, Noah Saldana, Wayan, Spilrahu, CZ, Taylor Taylor Colron, and Nick. Really appreciate it. You guys are the best.